Hey ladies, this is Caroline Knight, your host for Mom Buns. On episode 2, part 1 of Mom Buns, we had some technical difficulties, so you will only be able to hear the audio and not see our beautiful faces. Sorry about that, but we hope you enjoy. Here's episode 2, part 1. Did you think you were going to marry a Dominican?
I don't think I had no ideas of
who you wanted.
I know I wanted to marry a Hispanic person.
Oh, you wanted,
yeah. I wanted to have that because I go back and forth a lot. Like I start talking English and then I switch to Spanish and then but I love the fact that we are both Dominican. We both grew up in the Virgin Islands, so we have so much in common. Like so much. Like he catches all my Dominican references. He catches my Caribbean references. So it's like it's awesome. It's rare, but.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Colin is super white. He's like, okay.
Hey.
But he can sing.
Juvia. He
He can sing that.
He loves that song.
Sorry.
All right. Are you ready?
All of that saying.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry, babe. Love you. All right. Hey, ladies. This is Caroline Knight, and welcome back to Mom Buns. On today's episode, we're going to do the husband roast. Woo woo. No, I'm kidding. No, we are going to talk about marriage. It's like a love-hate thing. At least for
Elaborate.
me.
Okay.
No, okay. So, marriage is beautiful, right? It's wonderful. I love it. I love that my husband comes home every day and, we get to live this beautiful life together. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure you guys can agree that it is hard. Yeah. It is hard. And not only that, but adding kids into the mix only makes it that much harder.
Yeah,
right?
It's difficult.
I've only been a mom for a year, and I don't think, especially at the beginning, I don't think my marriage has ever been as tested as it has being a parent. Yeah. Because I see Colin and I see his faults, but on the other side of that, I see how just a beautiful reflection of the Lord he is for our family, which also kind of makes me mad because then I see my faults and they're just staring me in the face. Yeah. Right. So today, that's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to get into that and see what you guys think because you've been doing this much longer than I have. I'm like a baby compared to you guys. And Glori is having her 14-year anniversary coming up next month.
I need a medal,
please. you deserve,
something
like a vacation.
Yeah, definitely a vacation.
Right? Yeah.
I'll make sure my husband listens to this.
Hint, hint. And then Miriam, you've been married how long?
9 years this year.
9 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so your oldest is 6, right? Okay. Yes. So you've got experience there as well. I've heard it said, and I've talked to you guys about this before, that they say that the first 3 years is the hardest part of marriage. The first year is definitely the hardest, but the first 3 years, and then after 7 years, it gets really difficult. I don't know if that's true. In my experience, the second year was the hardest, but we weren't with family. We were kind of isolated, especially because that's when the pandemic hit and things like that. Yeah. So we were really isolated because we weren't near family at all. Yeah. And we didn't even have Ezra, which I thank God for that because that was the hardest time in our marriage, right? But that doesn't compare to really how hard it's been with just having a kid. It has been beautiful in the same breath, you know. But let's start with Miriam.
Whoa.
Yeah. Dish, girl, dish.
He's in the room. No, marriage and kids is hard. So we had Ella. Ella's the first one. About a few years, I say 3 years after we had gotten married, and it was hard. I know that I am not a happy pregnant lady. I know that.
Same.
And I want to put that out in the atmosphere. I know I'm not a happy pregnant lady.
Yeah.
Like, there's moms out there who love the glow and love the bump and love every single moment about it. I did not.
Yeah.
Like, I was uncomfortable.
Yes.
I was working. I worked till the last day of giving birth.
Did you?
Yes.
Wow.
I worked Wednesday, and I had her Thursday.
Oh, I don't know how you did that.
Yes.
No way. I work from home and I worked from home during pregnancy and I was on the couch basically the whole day. I was like, help me. Like, I don't know how you did that.
I work in the medical field. So I walked, I took
Oh.
blood pressure, I did injections, I did procedures, all through my pregnancy, both pregnancies actually. And I had both girls till the last moment. So I was not a happy pregnant person. I was not a happy pregnant woman. I just couldn't. So adding marriage on top of that, because he was happy. He wanted to embrace this. You know how dads are like, I want to touch your belly and I want to.
You're like,
I'm like, get away from me. Get away from me. So that didn't help at all. And I'm not a touchy-feely person, you know. I'm like a, hi.
What's your love language? Do you know?
Clean.
I think hers is like
Do things.
Okay, acts.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Not
acts are-
necessarily
it's quality time.
buy me things, but do the dishes or
Okay. Yeah.
clean
Show
up.
me.
Yeah.
Show me. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, a guy who does laundry.
Say no more.
Yes. But I'm not a touchy person.
Yeah.
He is a touchy person. So during pregnancy, it was not a happy time, at least with Ella. We struggled a lot during that time because after I had her, a switch automatically goes off inside of you and it's like, okay, it's mommy mode.
It's take care of baby, keep baby alive.
Yeah, something naturally just happens
Yeah.
to moms or to women. I think for the most part, most women, where something just flips and you're like, no, it's this. And that just happened to me. And I was in this mode that baby was coming first.
Yeah.
And it was affecting our marriage. And you go to, it's just the two of us and you're my one and only. And I'm like, nope, baby's got to eat. Baby's got to do this. Baby's got to do that. And when we had Ella, we weren't in a place financially that was the best, you know? Mm-hmm. And we were struggling a lot too. And some days was like, okay, I got to get formula and finances will affect your marriage. Yes. It will it could tear it up. So that was a big thing. And I'm a doer, like I've said before. And I would get so mad at dad for can you clean that up? Can you pick this up? And I became a nagger. I was such a nagger to the point that I went from nagging to insulting to, tearing down. And I look back and it was ugly. I was an ugly person. It didn't matter how cute you looked. On the inside, I was just angry all the time. And I know I was a different person once the girls came. And I feel like my kids have created this softer version of me.
I think so.
Okay.
The process of having to deal with the struggles of being with my kids and struggles with my marriage and all the time praying because God had to be the one to do a lot of this. But I know he brought these girls into my life, especially the second one, because surprise, that was my surprise baby.
Yeah.
And I bawled about that, but I needed her. Because it was through all of that I am now this person. The transition with my kids and learning to be soft and learning to be loving. Because not that. Like, I was never, like, very hugs and kisses and loving like that. Mm-hmm. And now I think my kids have helped me be that. Mm-hmm. So now I can understand and be that for other people. It's helped me in my job. It's helped me in ministry. My kids don't understand how much they've helped me. Yeah. And you see them and they think that I'm the one taking care of them, but in reality, they have taken care of me in such a way that they don't even understand. Wow. So in that in itself, it's helped my marriage because my husband has understood and has been with me through that process. And we are now in a place, now going on 9 years of marriage, so it took this long, to be able to talk things and
like communicate?
Yes.
Did you feel like you couldn't communicate?
I did not come from a family that communicated.
You're supposed to read your mind.
Yes.
You know.
That's what I think, right? How do you not know what I'm thinking or how I'm feeling or what I'm doing?
Yeah.
But I don't come from a family that communicates. I come from a family that you feel what you feel, fine, or for not talk to each other for a little bit, and then everybody goes back to our norm. Yes. We're all fine, we talk, and it's like it never happened. Okay. So that's how we grew up. Like,
so you brought that.
So I brought that into my marriage, even sometimes with my kids, like, you know. So I've learned, and he's the complete opposite. We are like complete opposites. How we grew up, where we're like, the only thing we have the same is that we're Dominicanos from the Virgin Islands, but growing up, it was so different. I grew up in church. He did not.
Yeah.
But I brought that with me into my marriage, and it didn't hit the first years. Because when you don't have kids, those stuff don't hit because it's easy to like look past. But now when you have kids, you're like, no. Now I know that you don't clean. Now I'm noticing that you don't pick up. Yes. Now I'm noticing that you don't do this or this or this. Yeah. Yeah. It's not till you have kids that you don't realize that. But somehow you have to. Communication, yes, it's key. It's key. Like, that's... Yeah. I couldn't stress that enough. Yeah. And just being kind. Like, I've learned at this point to let things just go. And I was such a person that will hold on to things. And I'll be like, on June 13th, 2016, like, you said this, and this. Wow. And this is 3 years now. And just because you didn't fold the laundry, I'm pulling this up. Yeah. Like, that was me. And now I've learned to be like, he left a cup on the counter. I roll my eyes. I pick it up, rinse it out, ignore him for a second. I'm like, oh, so what do you want for dinner? Yeah. And you just learn to, like,
you pick your battles.
Yes. And you just let it just fall off of you. And just move on. You live happier. You live healthier. Yeah. You just live better. You just let it just fall off.
That's really good because I still don't do that. Like,
that's good that you're aware of that, though.
I am, and I feel so bad, you know, because that's me. Like, and again, I am working on my husband listening to this. He's probably like, girl, you do that. Yeah, work harder. That's you. Yeah. But I don't communicate. Yeah. And it has been a struggle since even the beginning of our marriage. But it just, having a baby just kind of brought that up to like, here, this is you. Yeah. Like, this is what you're not doing, you know? And yeah, I would call him out like, you're doing. One day I blew up on him because he didn't warm up my syrup for my pancakes. And he made me this beautiful breakfast and I lost it. And I felt so bad, but in that moment, all I could see was red. Like, it was just angry, you know? Yeah. And it was just, I was starving because, you know, I'm nursing the baby, but it's no excuse. You know, you do have to, like, pick your battles, but, like, also just love your husband.
No, that's me.
It's so bad. Glory's laughing because she knows, like, she knows.
Glory has two of us.
Bread the other day.
Two of you guys. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I had a question for you. Do you seeing yourself now? Like, back then, did you realize that you were being, like, mean and angry and ugly, like, in your marriage? Like, when you had the baby? Or is that just, like looking back as who you are now?
That was just my way of being.
Okay.
I was just existing in this state of anger or like, you know, I was just being like it.
So you were mentioning that your second baby was like your turning point. Was it because of the baby itself, or did you have like a come to Jesus moment where
I had
like,
a lot of come to Jesus moments in my marriage, in my life, in my whole existence.
Yeah.
And when I got pregnant with baby number 2, I wasn't expecting baby number 2.
Yeah.
And I thought like we were at a good place. Oh, we had 1 kid. We were surviving.
Yeah.
We weren't killing each other. Yeah. And then, bam, I'm pregnant. And I bawled.
And that was because you looked at how it was with your first baby and how it affected your marriage?
Because she was my baby still.
Oh, okay.
She was 1 still. And I was like, she's still a baby. Yeah. She's still my baby. I can't. Yeah. And I cried. Glory knows this. I bawled. I was like, I'm pregnant. And she's like, oh, you're pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm pregnant.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't like a happy pregnant. And if I was like sour with my first pregnancy, because I told y'all I hate being pregnant. Yeah. The second time around was even worse. Oh, Lord. Like, I was like, I'm pregnant, you know, like I was like, ugh, like I was like I would go out at anything, you know, and then we were just like not in a good place. My whole pregnancy, like that pregnancy, and it was not the happy time. And I gave birth to her, and I was like, okay, and then a few weeks later, my husband's like, I'm leaving. So we weren't in a good place. We'd argue all the time. We'd fight. It was just not, we were not pleasant to each other. And he was I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm like, I just had a baby. It's like, yeah. And he left, and it was me, my 1-year-old, and this newborn. Yeah. My sister was such a big help. She was like, she did a lot. Like, I do have to appreciate her, because she took care, like, she would take the girls so I can sleep. And I was on maternity leave for not very long, because we live in the United States of America, and that's done. Yeah. That's a whole nother podcast, guys. But I go back to work. Now I'm working with this newborn and this 1-year-old and just trying to survive at that point. And I would bawl my eyes out, That was a tough time for me. At times I would call Glory. I have my 1-year-old crying, the baby crying, and I'm on the phone with Glory. I can't, like bawling. I can't, hyperventilating. Yeah. I can't. And she's like, just put them down and go to the bathroom. That's what she told me. Just put them down in the crib and go to the bathroom. And I sat on the floor in the bathroom just bawling. Right, yeah. Just bawling. And that was one of those turning points in my life. Yeah. Because at that point, I realized, okay, I can either do this by myself or I can try and fix my marriage. Because at that point, he didn't really have any interest in dealing with us. Not mainly us, because he'd see his kids, but me. Yeah. And that was the one point when I realized I was actually in love with my husband, you know? Yeah. And, oh my goodness, I'm going to cry.
It's okay.
Yeah. It was until then that I realized it. Yeah. Because this whole time I was like, he's there, but when he's not there, it's kind of like that whole idea, you miss something when it's gone. Yeah, yeah. And I had to sit there and be like, what do I really want, you know? Yeah. And I realized that I love him, and he told me he didn't love me anymore. And this is why I said in one of our earlier recordings that moms are so much like God, because God loves us unconditionally.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I said, I don't care if he doesn't love me, because I love him.
Yeah.
So I called him. I would send him notes.
Pursue him.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he'd tell me he didn't love me. I'm like, it's fine. I don't need you to love me. Yeah. I just need you to know that I love you.
That's good, yeah.
And that was a time in our lives that we were able to kind of get back and understand that we really do love each other. And we ended up getting back together and being able to go forward. I don't even think the girls have any idea of what happened. Yeah, they're so little at the time. Yeah. And it, like, my older one at that time, she was 1, going to turn 2, and she would ask for him all the time, but I don't think she really processed that he wasn't around, and I don't think they even remember, which I thank God that they don't have those memories of my suffering. Yeah. I do know that my older one was like my best friend at that point. Yeah. This is what I said. She was like my savior, because she'd see me crying and she's like, "Mommy, are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm good." And she was able to pull me out of some dark times without her knowing. Yeah. But it took me to realize, like, man, I am not that great. Like, I thought I had it all together, and I have all this, I'm organized, and I do this and I do that, but I wasn't kind. I wasn't kind to my husband. I wasn't kind to people around me. I just wasn't kind. There was something in me that was holding this anger and this resentment towards him that would lash out every second it could. Yeah. And it wasn't until I was alone and I had to deal with it, what was really inside of me, that we could get past it and be able to be okay. Yeah. So that was the first time that we had a turning point in our marriage. There were a few. We can talk about those another time.
There were a few. No, so that's good. So good. I feel like you're a lot like me, where you think you can do it all yourself.
Oh yeah.
You know, like sometimes my husband's like, what does Ezra want for dinner tonight? Like, what do we give him again? And in the back of my mind, I'm like,
you forgot?
Like, really? You know, but yeah, then like if he goes away for like, a day or two, I'm like, I need you. Like this is a you and me thing. Like I can't do it on my own, and we can't, you know, and this is so good. Thank you for sharing that. That was beautiful.
That was really good.
And powerful. But Glori, go ahead and give us the mom tip of the day, and we're gonna follow this up with your story in the next episode.
Okay, so my mom tip of the day is, and I struggle with this even now, is I would feel so guilty if I would take 2 hours to myself to go away and do something, a facial, get coffee with friends, go to Target. Yeah. And I would feel so guilty if I did that, if I asked my husband or anyone, stay with the kids, I'm going to go out and I need a moment. And I would feel so guilty for doing that. And I don't anymore, because why? I need it. And sometimes I think as a young mom, I expected my kids to bring the joy out of me, to give me joy, and my husband to bring me joy. And when they didn't, I would be upset, and it would affect how I would parent, and it would affect my marriage, but and my mental health for sure. And I just urge all moms out there to just take 2-3 hours for yourself, to do something that you like. Call a friend, go out to dinner, and just do something that makes you happy, that has nothing to do with your husband or your baby. Yeah. Nothing related to them, just something that you enjoy. I enjoy going out and getting a facial. I love doing that. Going out for coffee with my friends, to Target run, stuff like that, and not feel guilt, any guilt whatsoever. Yeah, so that's my mom. Just make it happen. Whether you wake up before the kids wake up, and do something for yourself, or you do it at night, and if you could do it during the day, more power to you. Just do it. It's really, really important.
That's so good. Yeah, we were talking about it the other day. Like, we're so prone to forgetting about ourselves.
We're the last one on the to-do list.
Because we take care of everyone else. You know, I can't tell you how many times, like, before coming to church in the morning to practice, I set everything up for Ezra. and sometimes even my husband. And then I come to church and I realize, oh no, like I forgot XYZ, you know, because I'm so just focused on them, you know, that we forget about ourselves. Even if it's just taking a moment, like, you know, separating yourself, going to your car, like taking a breather, you know, like just something that'll like bring you back to this is also about you. You know, reach out to friends, you know, go have a cup of coffee, you know,
because I'm sure they need it. They're going through that. They need
they're going through the same thing. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've like FaceTime my mom friends who also have like a baby around the same age as my firstborn, and they're like, oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me today, or, you know, a few weeks ago. And then it just makes you feel like you aren't alone, you know? So thank you for sharing that mama tip. But yeah, we just have to remember that it takes a village.